But
Hey, let's get things rolling, man.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, hey,
Top 5 right here coming up.
episode 93, HGA Nation. Hello, Jason Ledlow, Trevor Nelson. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. Everyone's going to be viewing this later as recording. Fantastic. Share it with someone in your network, your friend sphere, and or a neighbor. But pretty exciting. Episode 93. 5 things, and then we're going to have like some additional stuff too. So that's just we won't stop at 5 because we're long-winded.
Well, I think we just should jump out there and give the bonus part at first and do that if that's okay with you, bro.
The fun part.
I know that's really the thing. So after, we did a really in-depth study. We did surveys. We did interviews. We talked to people all across the country.
Yep.
For those of you that participated, we really appreciate it. And we came up with 5 things that you absolutely have unequivocally have to do for 2023.
Yep.
And you're going to really raise a lot of money. So here we go.
Number 1.
Well, let's go 5. We're going to go back in the deal. So number 5, kind of like the countdown used to happen, but now we're going to go backwards.
Sure. Gotcha.
So number 5, hand out free shots of Fireball because we all know drunks bid higher.
Especially when they're hopped up on Fireball.
Always a big deal. Get them drunk. They bid more money.
Mm-hmm.
Big one, really. And just don't even sell it. Just give it away for free. Number 4.
You're funny.
Pouring is better. Everyone is just there to give money. Don't need to have a show. Don't need to do anything. Just show up.
Keep it boring.
Out, and people will do it. It's been proven.
Yeah, boring. People don't like to be excited.
Don't spend money on an auctioneer because Uncle Charlie will do it for free.
Free auctioneers rip. They're awesome. So if you guys can get 2 of them, that'd be fantastic.
I'm just telling you, Uncle Charlie, we know he's a funny guy. So
he's great, man. Uncle Charlie's like David Letterman. Yeah.
Number 2, get a politician to speak at your event because everyone will love it.
Love listening to politicians. That's for sure.
Keynote. I mean, they can go for hours and hours, and
give them the time.
It's always good. Yeah,
give them 120 minutes.
Let them do it. And number 1 for 2023.
That's a good one.
Forget galas. Let's just have a potluck.
Everyone, bring your favorite side dish and some gravy, and let's and don't forget the Fireball and Uncle Charlie.
So now we got that out of the way. We can talk about what everybody wants to.
Yeah. Sorry for getting a little cheeky there right at the onset, of course, but we had a lot of time off, so it's just we had to get laughs out of the way.
It ain't just coffee right here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Was it Brandy's good in coffee? But
Brandy's good in everything.
So well, I got a few of those that are jumping out at me. Do you want to get to the real list, or you want to embellish a bit more about the BS list?
I think let's do this, and please, as always, stay to the end and win. We've got a great prize for somebody to be able to use to raise more money. And please do not stop with questions. If you've got something or a comment, we'd love to hear it.
Q&A function at the bottom, chat feature, and we'll monitor
down
that
there. Leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Please leave a comment, give a link, and subscribe. We do this, and if you get anything out of this, we hope that you'll share it with somebody else in this because we really would appreciate it. So let's get
and no offense to Uncle Charlie, by the way. No offense. Uncle Charlie's probably a really funny guy. That's fantastic if you have an Uncle Charlie, but we're pretty persistent about good auctioneers aren't cheap.
Well, yeah. And we'll get to this and we'll talk about these as we go through and why and what we've learned over the last year, really. Because that's, we have the opportunity, Trevor and I, we talk to fundraisers just like you all across the country.
A lot.
Literally from small little events that are raising 20,000 to large ones that are raising 2 million. And so it's really fortunate for us and other professionals. So we really, and the fact, Shelley, that I love it, the fact that you thought maybe that was serious for just a minute.
Awesome. This isn't the typical webinar.
We do, because we really think these things are important. And so number 5, set a fundraising goal and reverse engineer your event to meet it. I think
always remember the math. Always remember the math.
The math is really important, and what we see with a lot of folks going out there, it's kind of like, okay, well, we've done it this way, we're going to do it this way. We're going to have the event, we send out the invitation, we've got the placemats or the place settings, and we did it this way before, and we've got some stuff, and then literally they're sitting back going, I hope this works out.
Crossing the fingers.
You guys have put these events take way too much time, way too much energy and effort for it to be a gamble. And there's way too much running the line. So many organizations are out there putting, this is anywhere from 10 to 75% of their budget. And boy, that is a whole lot of mission drive to put out there and for that. So, really sincerely do this and then reverse engineer to hit your number. So, and I'm talking about net numbers. Okay. So always factor those things in.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Any
always
comments,
remember the math.
questions along the way? We want to hear them. So
yeah, please.
If not, I'm going to get to number 4. Number 4, underwrite everything. The one thing that we learned over the last really 2 or 3 years coming out of COVID and 21 and especially in 2022, donors want to go deep with your organization if you give them an opportunity.
Love that.
They absolutely want to go deep. They don't always want to buy another table though.
Yep. New opportunities. And
what we've seen is when people are implementing these strategies, they may not get everything underwritten, but they're getting a lot more than they ever have. We're seeing case after case, time after time, example after example, where they've never really done this before, or maybe they just did 2 or 3 things and we got them to list everything. And we just said, just go out all out.
Give folks a
and
choice.
They'd have 25 things. They go, I can't believe people were doing this. People
Yep.
that already had a table, they wanted to sponsor this too.
Yep.
So really open it, because it opens a lot of doors. Trevor and I had a conversation with a group yesterday, and I made the comment, and I said to him, I said, we want to, for us, our strategy is we want to remove all friction from people doing business with us. We want to remove all friction from people doing business with us. Mm-hmm. And so I would always
make it as easy as possible.
Remove all the friction points.
Trust me, that's what folks want. We say this all the time to supporters, donors. At the end of the day, they're consumers, right? So the consumer landscape has changed obviously so dramatically over the last few years, where it's really about convenience, right? So they've already have brand awareness about your organization they want to give. So that's the easy part. They're in the door. But making it as easy as possible for them to give, and then obviously once again with a creative spin, hey, you don't just get to buy a table this year if you want, but you can underwrite the audio visual or the streaming portion or what have you. That's just such a cool option, and just making it just quick. If you have software, obviously they can just go boom, boom, done.
Well, and what it does, it allows you to have this list. Now we can do a whole deep dive, and we have in the past.
We have,
but I want to give it a real quick example. So Trevor and his wife, Shelby, and my wife, Teresa, we all love to go do things together and do it. Now, he's in California, I'm in Oklahoma, so we don't get to do a whole lot of fundraisers, but when we do, we want to sit together, be together. So an example is if Trevor invites me to come to an event in Redding, California, and I go up there, and I really like it, I like the mission, I like everything that's going on, and the following year, I want to go again. And maybe I spent some money, donated some money, and, the organization's reaching out and talking to us and engaging with us. Well, a lot of times the only way that I can go deeper to engage is to buy another table. Well, I don't know anybody in Redding, California, except for them.
That's a good point.
And everybody that's sitting at the table. So I don't want to do that. I want to sit at the table with them. But, if the organization came and said, hey, Jason, we've got some opportunities for you guys to help our mission. These would be really great. Would you be willing to underwrite these? And the final thing I would say on underwriting everything, make money on everything. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up actually, because it's part of it. I don't want to tease the next.
Here's a real easy one. And even if it doesn't cost you money, underwrite it anyway.
For sure.
Because it's just a way to do it. Let's just say that you're doing place settings. It's an easy one, or centerpieces, and the centerpieces are going to be $3,000. Charge $5,000.
You can totally do that. It's well within your bounds.
Absolutely do it. You within your bounds. Money on everything.
And we actually didn't come up with that idea, although we're always pushing the envelope to ask for more. But at the same time, we've had organizations people are on right now that are part of organizations that do the exact same thing. They charge 100% on top of the cost, if not more sometimes, depending on what the underwriting opportunity is or what someone's
Shelly,
sponsoring.
and Shelly, that's exactly what we're talking about.
100%.
We were talking about underwriting everything.
Items.
Underwrite the bathrooms, underwrite the hallway, underwrite the check-in. Everything. Check in, check out, coat closet.
Software.
And just put it all on a list so everybody can do it and have a varying degree of price. The stuff that doesn't cost you anything, you can put a lower. It's $500 to be the water closet. Fine.
But you'd be surprised.
We've got an organization sells it for $4,000.
Yeah.
The bathrooms.
They give a list where you can just press, you can click
put a sign
check.
by it because they know that everybody in the whole place is going to go past their sign.
So cool. Yeah, we've told
And
Becky's story a bunch of times about having the plumber
yeah,
underwrite the refreshing station as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well,
Oh, how do you sell market underwriting something like the silent auction? Could be
you
the
just put up there
premium
the
silent
silent
auction.
auction.
Yeah, it could be the
You just put a
premium
number on it.
silent auction presented
Yeah.
by, right? That would be the delivery, right? But
And
yeah,
I think we get this, we have this idea. Oh, here's what I want you to think about. Okay. Look at any major league sport out there, any major league sport.
uniforms.
Okay.
Arenas,
Golf
stadiums.
now has the deal. Everybody's got stuff on their uniform, even,
Yeah.
Players, everybody's got something on there.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is, what is the value of that? What is the value of that exposure?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't know, and you just got to pull a number out of your hat.
That's okay.
It could be $500, and I hope Becky doesn't mind me using this, but Becky had this. She had $500, winds up connecting with a plumber who underwrites the bathrooms for $500. But then, because he learns more about it, gets involved, turns around and donates his yacht.
Mm-hmm.
They turn around and sell it twice for $10,000 a piece, and so a $500 bathroom sponsorship turned into a $20,000 donation. And if I'm off on the numbers, forgive me.
Yeah. It could have been more for sure.
But Becky, to tell you the deal, it doesn't have to have a number. You could say silent auction underwriter, $2,500.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean doesn't mean that you have any outgoing costs. It's just that everybody's going to see that underwritten by.
Yeah, and Becky, do you mean the number of the value that you mean you want them to underwrite the items too, like the cost of the items? Like it could be something where the value of the entire silent auction lineup could be $10,000 or something like that. Let me know what you think about that.
Yeah, I would do that. I would just say it's just pure underwriting, advertising, marketing, something. If you do have a cost built into it, then you can take that cost, but mark it up a 1.5. So in other words, mark it up 50%.
Yeah,
if you're doing, I would say at a minimum 30%.
The thing that speaks to me is I think the pitch is as well as the opportunity to, you're providing us with the opportunity to raise up to this much money. And then afterwards, the numbers are the numbers. So thanks so much for the opportunity that you gave us by sponsoring. Yeah,
because maybe you got to go get some stuff that you got to go spend a little money.
Oh, gotcha. I think.
Yeah. I'm just saying, for example, let's say that you've got some cool stuff and you need to go because you want to present it a certain way. You want to package it and merchandise it, and it's going to cost you a little money to go get some stuff. I mean, that cost is nominal to do it, but it's still underwritten, and you're getting that underwritten, those costs. But I would put a number that's everybody's going to see it.
Yep.
What's that?
I would make it. Yeah, I would make it consistent with the others, Becky. I think that just being creative, and we're essentially saying pick a number out of thin air that's relevant. You know what I mean, to what's going on there. But I've seen it. We've seen it underwriting like a super silent or premium silent auction underwritten for up to $5,000 or more. So,
and the money that just went to the bottom line.
I love that. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah,
cost.
I wouldn't get too caught up on what the value of it is. The value is the value. If you want to say, what's the value of this? Well, it didn't cost us anything, so it's a pure donation. It cost us $2,500, and we sold it for $5,000. They get you could say, well, the value was $2,500, and they got $2,500 if that's what you're talking about. I'm not sure exactly if that's what you mean, Becky, but I would go through and create a selection, and I would have everything from $500 to $5,000 or more if you need to. If you've got something that's a really high end item, like your audio visual, and you got $15,000, we'll put 3 up there for $5,000. You've got the cost no matter what. Or maybe you do 4 sponsorships for that. If it's 10 grand, do something like that, because a lot of times you'll put up there and put the number of available, and then in your programming you would put audio visual underwriting, Trevor, Jason, Becky, and Kelly, and those.
Perfect.
Paul,
I just saw your hand in the air. If you have any questions for us, just let us know.
Number 3.
Fire away.
No more than 5 revenue generators. What do we mean by that? We don't want to get giving fatigue. You want to make sure that we want to be equal opportunity receivers. We want to meet everybody where they're at. By revenue generator, what I mean by that is, your live auction would be 1. The silent auction would be 2. A raffle would be 3.
Golden ticket.
Your golden ticket, maybe it's raffle. Maybe it's a wine pull. It's another game you've got. Last champion standing, something like that. And the fund to need. That's 5. Or, so that's 5. what you don't want to do is you don't want to just ask for money. I've given this example many times where I was at an event, and by the time I got through the first line, the front door, and about 15 feet in, I've been asked for money 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after you've given money 2 or 1, 2, 3 times, you're kind of done. At that point, you're ready to go drink, party, whatever. What if the giving has been at small increments? And I'm not suggesting if you've got a game that everybody loves doing, there's some of them that I particularly just think are a waste of time, but a lot of organizations like them and they love doing it, and so that's great. But I just really just want to say, just keep that down. Don't go crazy with how many times you're asking people for money.
Got a couple questions here, amigo.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and take let's take let me see Deidre's real quick.
Sorry if you covered this. I joined late. How do you value in-kind sponsorship? I have been told it's 50% of the value of cash.
That's something that really I don't have a whole lot of opinion on or experience with. I think great 50% in kind is awesome.
Yeah.
But I do not value that the same. Absolutely don't, as cash, because cash is what powers the engine. That's the gas that goes in the tank to power your nonprofit. In kind, it helps us raise money. And so it doesn't carry the same weight. I think they're important, but I'm not going to give somebody who, they give the wine sponsorship and I'm giving them a platinum table that's worth 25 grand, or maybe even a free table now, but everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
I want to,
there are no rules in a good way.
Well, and what I mean by that is, let's say that I've got, Jackie, and I know that Jackie is a people person. She's got a Rolodex that would go around the world. And if I say Jackie and she wants to come and she's going to do an in-kind sponsorship for us. And I also, and I'm just picking on you, Jackie, because I see your name there. The other part is, but I know that Jackie, not only she's going to do the in-kind, but she's going to bring some ringers in there. She's going to bring a table full of people that are going to spend some money. And so then I'm going to say, Jackie, yeah, why don't we get you a table? Why don't you bring some of your rich friends who are going to spend a whole lot of money and come in here and do this? You've got to be open and fluid to that, and understand that, you can always negotiate down. You can never negotiate up.
It's hard to go backwards. Yep. Yeah, totally. Thanks, Jackie. As always, we appreciate the heck out of you.
So the next one, what is a good way to capitalize in company price match that makes it easy for the donors? Okay, I'm going to hit that real quick. That's really in what we call a fund to need. So what I would do, what I've done in the past, and what I see other nonprofit auctioneers, people in the deal do, is it all depends on what that number is. Depends on how we need to use it. And I always ask for this. I always say, hey, we've got a match challenge right here tonight. Now, it may just be a straight donation that they're going to allow us to do. I hope that's how you ask. So whenever I go and ask Trevor, would you be willing to give $20,000 to make a gift of $20,000 that we can turn around and use to leverage the room to raise more money and try to double it? I didn't say a challenge, because if I do that and we only raise 10,000, Trevor's only going to write a check for 10 grand.
Exactly.
Everybody thinks, well, he'll just go. No, they won't.
Be very, very deliberate about that.
You say a gift. I'm asking would you be willing to make a gift? Because I know you can, I know you care. A gift of 20,000, we could turn around and use the room. And then probably what I'm going to do, I'm not going to try to match that right off the bat. Because I'm asking for another donation of 20 or 10 or 5, where I want to really use that as my $1,000 donations down. Because if I can get 20 people to raise their hand right now at $1,000, we're going to raise $40,000.
Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a chance. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I'm really leveraging more people to participate, because all of a sudden they think, well, I'm not giving 1,000, I'm really giving 2. And that's the impact.
I love that.
So that's the way I think about using those match challenges. I had an organization that I worked with a few years ago. They were raising money for the equipment to go in a neonatal unit. So they were getting the post delivery, the incubators, and then they were getting the little beds and all the little things like that. And one piece cost $15,000. And we had a group that got up and they did 5 of them, and they challenged the room to match it. And we got 5 more people, different individuals, that gave $15,000. We had another company that did the little bed things. I can't remember what they were, but they were $5,000 a piece, and they paid for 10.
Yeah.
and they needed to raise another 10, and they got it because people were giving 5,000. We actually had some people give half of that, but we got it matched that way.
Another
So it
really
really
cool
depends on,
layer.
yeah, it depends on the amount, what they're doing, what you're trying to raise, who's in the room. But that's how I do it. I would absolutely use it to say we've been given a challenge. Here's a great thing to do. If they were willing to, people, and this takes a little time. So if you're one of those schedule Nazis, and I mean that very lovely, because I've seen some folks that were raising money and they're like, hey, we've got to go, we've got to get going. And they're trying to shut the program down. I'm like, I'm here to raise money, not to do something, not to have a show. And I say that very respectfully to all the planners out there that are trying to keep on pace, because I want to stick on time. But if that person's willing to say something about why they're doing it, that becomes very powerful. Okay. Because
love that.
If somebody says,
you're qualifying it. You're qualifying.
Well, I'm going to give you an example. So like I took this deal, went around the room with a microphone, and we had a lady who stood up and she said, we want to match for 10,000. We want to do the $10,000 and buy 2 of these, because our granddaughter, we had a granddaughter who was born 5 years ago, came to this place doing this, and we know how important it is.
Yep. Awesome.
They had the ability to do it, and they did that. And boy, then somebody else went and spoke, and somebody else did. And we raised a whole lot of money because people were able to share their story, and that made people connect to their story, connect to the heartstrings, which if you touch the heartstrings connected to the wallet, people will give more money. So that's the idea. I hope that helps, Paula. And if it doesn't, I'm happy to talk to you offline about it and explain it more. And
100%.
Maybe about your specific situation. So
I just love qualifying things and telling people, like, obviously not every organization can because of their reach or what they do or whatnot. But if you can say that we're going to send $1,000 equips this child to go to this camp or to play this sport. And how many people are willing to do that for $1,000 who's in? And we have obviously a match here. I just think qualifying it anytime you can make it quantifiable and qualifiable, obviously,
absolutely,
people will give. So share that story. I think it's really, really impactful.
Yeah, because the story, just as Trevor mentioned, the story doesn't become, hey, we're trying to get 40 kids to go into camps, cost $1,000 a kid. We've got so-and-so has said that they will put the first 20 up if we can match it.
Yep. And people want to be
we'll send a kid to camp for $1,000.
People want to be associated with a
maybe
win.
We get 10, and then we come up and say, okay, you can't do a full scholarship. Who could do a half at $500?
Boom.
And then we just keep going until we get it done.
Yeah,
so that's
creative.
how I would do it.
Get creative. I think that's awesome. So that's revenue generators. That's 5 distinct revenue generators that work.
So there was there.
Cool.
Underwrite everything.
Yes.
3.
Yes. That's Mad McMahon.
There we go.
Yes.
Cheap auctioneers aren't good, and good auctioneers aren't cheap.
Say that again, brother. We say that
cheap
a lot.
Auctioneers aren't good, and good auctioneers aren't cheap. I don't want to. One thing that we learned doing this is that we've just seen some organizations, and this is just an experience share, who took the cheap route, and it really hurt their event.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that from a selfish standpoint, because, well, they could have sold more trips, but from a practical standpoint,
from a raising money
standpoint, sold more trips.
Yeah.
And, or they could have raised more money, or they could have taken their time, because it's
they could
not
raise more money in the fund to need, or what have you.
I'm not suggesting that you may have a professional auctioneer who is very good, and that they're donating it to you because this is the way that they can give back to their community.
It's pretty rare, though. It's pretty rare, the good ones.
Yeah, and because that's what they do for a profession.
Yeah.
It's like going to your dentist and saying, hey, I want to get this crown done for free. Yeah, they're going to charge you. It's just, they're going to
recommend that.
And if the free guy does it, you probably don't want to go get it.
Free filling.
And I want you to, and that brings up a good point. I don't want to harp on this, but would you go to a surgeon that was doing it for free? Would you want a lawyer that was doing it for free? Would you want an eye doctor that was doing it for free?
Hey, brother, would you want a free audio-visual team? They're going to give you a free service. You know what I mean?
Well, I
you
guarantee you, all
you want a free caterer?
They said free AV.
You want a free caterer?
Say, I want it.
I don't know.
But here's what I can tell you is these people are professionals. I mean that in the very best way. I mean, they are pros. That's what they do. They're very much worth it. And I'm not here to tout any specific auctioneer. That's not my job at all. If you need somebody, we can give some people we know in your area and make us some recommendations. But I want to say, just seeing people who are getting the best in the business and spending that extra money and taking that leap of faith, they're like, would never go back.
You pay for it.
Never go back, because they more than paid for themselves, because we're seeing people, adding 50% more to their event, doubling their event. I'm not going to mention any names or organizations, but we've got a friend in the business that he did it. They had a great night. They had a great room, and they raised, I think 500,000 in Atlanta, over what their deal was, their goal. They doubled it. They had a $500,000 goal, and they doubled it and raised $1 million. And a big part of the reason they did it, because the guy that had the microphone. And there are a lot of men and women out there that are really good. So anyway, enough about that. That's my rant. I didn't mean to go quite that.
But I think it's important, man. I think it's important. And
you put all this work, you put all this effort,
important.
all these hours, all this time, and you go
give it to the news anchor.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
The
We've
local
got this
DJ
guy that's an MC, and he said he'd come in and he could do the auction. No. They just don't, because they don't understand. Like, we've got a guy, a friend of ours that he's down in Texas. He went to do an event, and he sold one trip, not once, not twice, but 4 times for $43,000. They netted $100,000 on this one trip. Any other auctioneer would have done it, they'd have probably sold it one time for 45, 50,000 and thought they just killed it, but they'd have sold it once.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'd have made a whole lot less money. So there's a lot of skill involved in practice. And so,
that's a really good question, Shelley. I mean, hey, listen, they're not a part of a union, so they're not all charging the same, right, Shelley? So, I mean, depends on what your budget is. Let's talk about it via email. I know we've had a conversation via email already as well, but I mean, I think that
I can tell you right now, you need to put that in there. It's just as important as having the facility that you're doing it in.
I also think it can be underwritten. Absolutely, it can. Yeah. So they're needle movers, Shelley, for a reason. And but sometimes, hey, listen, sometimes events, and Jason, would you agree with this? Sometimes events aren't big enough yet. If you're very new, or, I don't know if year one is the right thing. If you're not depending on the live auction to be such a needle mover. I don't know.
Here's what I will tell you. It's more important. More important early than it is later.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because an established event that's been around for 10 years, and you've got all the deep pockets, and you've done all your work, and you've got all this thing underwritten.
For sure. Folks are conditioned.
They're conditioned. They're going to show up and give. But you've got a new event. And
all right, that's a really good point. Yeah.
You really need to have it more there than you probably do anywhere else. And I'm not suggesting you got to go spend 10 grand. Okay. When I say,
no, you don't need to.
Every place around the country is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And I can assure you, wherever you're at, there is a good auctioneer who can come and do a fantastic job. Mm-hmm. They're going to cost you. But I mean, it's going to be somewhere probably between $1,500 and $3,500, $1,500 to $5,000, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And it's all negotiable. It's like everything else is negotiable. So don't do this. Don't go say, well, we're a 501c3 and we're really trying to do, because they know that already. So they're there to help you. But, and you want somebody that's going to get behind your mission, not just show up and, run through
it's also something like the advertising, the show, the opportunities to give, and all those things. You're conditioned, but you're also advertising for future events, actually. So I'm not trying to contradict myself.
Oh no, you absolutely.
But if you're, and more so than ever, as a matter of fact, is what we're finding, that conditioning and that expectation by your supporters and donors, who are consumers once again, and they have a right to shop around, so to speak. That's well within their rights. It's really, really important to put your best foot forward, we think.
Well, and you get somebody there that's not what I consider a professional. They may be at auction and they get up there and they say an off-color joke and it offends half your donors in the room.
That could be bad.
What's that going to cost you?
That could be bad. Yeah.
So
don't know. Yeah. And the local personalities, you never know if everyone likes them, if everyone's going to vibe with that person. Don't know. That's a dice roll. So fit, that's actually another thing. While we're talking about it, we're embellishing a little bit about the auctioneers. I think fit is important. And what do you always say, Jay? interview multiple, right?
Yeah, I think that what I found is the two questions that I got most of the time, and and since I retired, it's kind of fun to sit back and kind of watch this and think about it a lot. Um, I Two questions I got probably most of the time: Are you available? What do you charge?
Mm-hmm.
That was
Sounds
what
great.
I would get, and then if I was available and felt like they wanted to use my butt deal, they'd go, okay, so put it down. I'm like, don't you want to know any more about me? Now, it may
Yeah,
be
yeah.
that, they had heard from somebody else and the recommendation came, um, doing things like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So,
In-kind
um,
gifts. Paula has a question about in-kind gifts for a casino night for 200 people that will make it special.
I probably would want to come back to that, Paula, and do that. We want to answer anything that's out there.
Like,
But I bet you there's some folks on here that have some suggestions. So if anybody's got an idea for Paula, I think if it just came to, I guess it just came to us. I'm sorry.
yeah.
What's the best gift in kind for a casino night for 200 people that will make it special?
Hmm.
I could tell you something that'd be fun is just a bottle of booze. Everybody got some kind of special tool deal that they
Yeah.
walk out with. Um,
An entry into something cool that's tied to a casino night, for instance,
mhm.
maybe.
Yeah, it depends on what your budget is. I mean,
Multiple
I've seen,
options. Yeah,
yeah, there's lots of stuff that you could do. I will say something about, I want to just
for
mention
sure.
something really quick about that. One of the things that I learned in this whole world of giving away gifts and doing things like that,
Hmm.
what is the one thing that we all tend to do?
Hmm.
We give away stuff with our stamp on it, our brand.
Mm-hmm.
And we give this, and basically what we're doing is we're giving something saying, we thank you so much. And I just want to give an opinion. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
don't give opinions a lot, but this is my opinion. And I tie it to experience share. Somebody gives me something that's got their brand on it and they go, oh yeah, I've got this gift for you. And it's really cool. And it's all stamped with their stuff on it. Well, it's just advertising for them. And it's kind of like, okay, kind of cool. Some swag. That's nice.
I call it the refrigerator magnet theory. Yeah.
Um, but here's what I will tell you. I've got a gift right here. I use it every day. Little
Mm-hmm.
leather portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
It's got my initials on it. I was
Mm-hmm.
given this like 10 years ago. Still have it, still
Mm-hmm.
use it, still keep it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's special to me. I remember exactly the person who gave it to me. There's never a question because that's where I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that that's the kind of stuff that if you're really wanting to make an impact, do something like that. Think about that. Now,
Something
maybe you want to
special.
put a little something on it on the inside about the event, but that's what I would say.
And also be deliberate. I mean, people have a lot of
Yeah.
junk, right? People have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
People don't want
Deirdre
more
had a great
stuff.
example. If you've
Yeah.
got a local casino, hit them
Yeah.
up because they definitely have some free stuff. They're trying to get people in the door.
100%. Yep. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Great
yeah,
suggestion.
we've seen centerpiece auctions for sure.
Mhm.
A lot of folks do that with like desserts, centerpieces. If you're doing a school, obviously there's a lot of artwork and things that the kids generate, stuff like that. It's all kind of in the same vein for sure.
Um, I you know, I'm going to pop up the last one and then we can continue the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And more questions.
oh yeah, mouse pad with photos and our logo. That's a great idea because it was of that event specific.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Means a lot. The photos mean a lot. I'm sure to the supporters.
Somebody asked, if the centerpiece auctions are good. They can be.
I mean, sure. Depends on
Depends
what
on
you
what
put
the
into them.
centerpiece is.
Yeah.
Depends on
Yeah.
the group. Depends on if it's something that somebody wants to take home.
For
Is
sure.
it easy to take home? Do you have somebody there to box it up so they can carry it out, or is it going to
Yeah.
be something they got to
Are they going to view it as a burden? Yeah.
Depends on your event.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Then there you go. That's an easy one.
Oh well, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's like having kids make quilts. We used to.
I think
in my son's school, we had a deal where each class did a quilt and we sold it, and
yeah.
depending on what class it was,
Right.
the fourth grade class, because two parents were in there that really wanted it, brings $5,000,
Mhm.
and the rest of them kind of averaged about 1,500. So, all that kind of stuff is really cool because that's an emotional buy, and parents really you get hooks in parents. And
One of the
grandparents.
easiest
They all
ways for
spend
folks to
money.
give is to the children's school for
Yeah.
sure, and the alumni. We were just talking about that with Matt
Okay.
Brunell.
Are we ready for number one?
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
Yes.
This
Yes.
is the one thing that we learned this year that is just the one that you've got to do. Ask for more money. Even if you didn't get the highest sponsorship, ask for more anyway.
Do not be shy. Do not be
No,
shy about
don't.
asking for more. Please, 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 because unequivocally, if you ask for more, you will get more. Jason has been saying this.
Yeah.
I've witnessed this to a lot of folks. Hey, what was your?
Well,
we'll do some coaching. Hey, what was the most that you asked for a table last year? 2,500. Okay, this year I want you to ask for 5. Do you know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
and you know
Well,
what?
we had somebody that said that
We
we
just
had
need a
somebody say,
nudge.
yeah, what's the
We
most
just
that
need
you've
a
ever gotten? 15,000. What's the most you've ever asked for? 15,000.
15,000.
Okay, ask for
Yeah. So
25.
yeah.
Or
Because
we had somebody said, what's the most you've asked for? And they said 10,000. So what's the most you've gotten? 5. I said, ask for 25. Keep the $10,000 option. Ask for 25.
I love that. How about the guy that came up to you and said, well, I would have given more if you asked.
Well, yeah.
I would
I
have
mean,
given
I had a guy
more.
give 25,000 in a fund of need, and he said, "Well, if I get," he was talking to the
It was
executive
50.
director, and
Yeah.
she said, "Thank you," and he goes, "Well, if he had asked me for more, I might have given more."
And we get in this. Okay, this is just a layer of this. I'm not. This is not a blanket statement that everyone feels this way, but we get into a habit where we've always done it this way. This is always what we've asked for,
Mm-hmm.
or you're thinking with your pocketbook, or you're putting yourself in their position and thinking, doing the thinking for them with their checkbook. And we want to remove that from the dossier. That is not something that is not an approach that we want to take when it comes to asking for more. Remove it, tear it down. That's behind us. Moving forward, we do this, and this is the reason why. And then, yeah, I mean, this is because this is what we've done with the mission. This is what we're doing, and this is what we're going to do. And that's the reason why. If you get any pushback, just make it all, obviously always come back to the focus being on the mission and what you're doing. So I love that. Becky, last year we had someone do a $15,000 paddle raise match. We just asked them if they would do 20 instead for the 20th year of the event, and he asked if he could do the paddle raise and the paddle raise match. I should listen to you guys and ask for more. Well, hey, listen, but you learn from that, Becky. So don't, no, it's not us, but
Well,
yeah.
one thing that we get caught up in, and when I say ask for more money, it also means just because they've already given to you doesn't mean they're not willing to give more.
100%. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Our
Absolutely.
biggest fans, the people that want us to succeed, want to give.
Yes.
And we're talking about people that have significant capacity. Okay.
Yep,
I'm not talking
absolutely.
about just your regular folks out there, probably like us that, could I write a check for $5,000? Yeah, probably. But am I going to miss it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But what we want to be is really get in that whole idea of being willing to go deep with those people because they will give more, especially when they see that the impact of what they give and the result of the mission, because that's what they're investing in.
Mm-hmm.
If they know that, and especially if you've really done a good job of tying your mission to the giving. And I understand that a lot of times organizations have a lot of stuff that they do. Mm-hmm. There's an organization I've spent a lot of time with, and I've given to, and
they have a broad
helped
reach
and worked with, and done all that stuff. And they've got like 14 things that are critical mission things that they do. Mm-hmm. And we were having a discussion. I said, "What's the most saleable thing that you have? The most marketable?" Mm-hmm. And they went to one. And I said, "Then let's focus on that."
Love that.
And the reason being is, we're doing it. It's going to fund all the other stuff, but it gets diluted. And so our focus gets diluted whenever we're asking for money, and it gets confusing. It's kind of like saying, "Hey, here's 27 options, pick one." Mm-hmm. And you can't do it because you just too many. Here's 2 options, pick one. Okay.
Yeah. We call that paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
Giving people the opportunity is massive. Shelly asked, and do you feel that the ask is enough, or do we need to offer more to get more? I don't think that you do. Jason, do you agree with that? I don't think that you need to offer more to get more. That's my
No,
opinion. It really
absolutely
depends. Yeah,
not.
I don't think so.
Absolutely do not have to do that. It's not a quid pro quo.
Please don't. Yeah, please
Yeah,
don't.
because
Yeah.
in any time that you get somebody who is really working you for stuff,
That's going
that's
to give
well,
you the icky feeling.
well,
Yeah.
it's not. It's just that's just how they negotiate. All you have to do is say no.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah,
So let me give you a great example.
That's a tough
Well,
lesson
this
to
is
teach yourself.
I'm going to give
No
you an
in
example
silence.
of a friend of mine. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine. He is extremely wealthy. Um, he sponsors an event here in Oklahoma City where I live, and he always asks for more. But guess what? That's how he got wealthy. He knows how to negotiate. I mean, this guy, you'd hold a loaded gun to his head, and he'd talk you out of it. He's good. He's really good. And so, but understand that's part of the process. Just because somebody asks for it doesn't mean you have to do it. Mm-hmm. And doesn't mean that, if we've been giving away a platinum table, or our platinum table was 10,000 and we raised the price and it's 25,000 now. They go, well, how come you raised your price to 25 grand?
Because of the work that we're doing.
Because the mission that we're doing, the funding that we're doing.
Because this is what we've done. This is what we're doing right now. But this is what we're going to be doing, and we need your help.
Everything has to come back to your mission. Okay, when you're thinking about sponsorships, tie it to the mission. When you're thinking about tables and sponsorship levels, tie it to the mission. Underwriting, tie it to the mission. Fund a need, tie it to the mission. Live auction, tie it to the mission. Silent auction, tie it to the mission. Everything comes back to the mission.
Love that. Love it. That's always your reasoning. And
don't be afraid to tell people what you're trying to raise.
It's okay.
I think, and one of the
goal should scare you a little bit. Your goal should scare you a little bit.
If your goal doesn't scare you, then you're not asking for near enough.
I think that's in life and in this fundraising world.
It should scare you to death and make you go, holy cow, what do I got myself into?
But we've seen countless times where people have hit that mark. So many times, people on the webinar right now that have hit that mark. I think there's just a tremendous opportunity out there, and you're making a mistake or leaving money on the table, so to speak, as we like to say.
Well, I want to go back, and I want to go back to that capacity thing for just a second. And I started down that path when I was saying, if you ask me for $5,000, could I write the check for it, or 10 grand? Okay, maybe I could get that done, maybe not, whatever. Mm-hmm. But would I miss it? Absolutely. Okay, we're talking about people that can write a check for $10,000 and not miss it. It is not going to change their life at all. Okay, they give lots of money away. Yeah. I had somebody who was afraid to ask this person for money. Well, they've already done so much, and I said, he has his name on the building at a university. Absolutely. He has a lot of money. Yeah. He is very wealthy.
Don't think in your world. Don't think
the change that spills out of his pocket is worth more than all of us put together. So just don't think in your ability to do it. Think in their ability, and let them tell you no.
Don't be surprised when it works out too, and don't be afraid of no. No is okay. That's the worst that can happen. You're not going to ostracise that supporter.
I think the worst that can happen is a maybe, but a yes or a no is a great answer.
Yeah, it's definitive.
So don't be afraid to ask. Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask. Tie it to your mission and ask for more money. In 2023, I think that you need to raise your sights significantly, because we're going to come into a recession. Okay, I'm not going to paint around the deal. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or try to say, oh well, let's just see what happens. We're going to. It's going to happen. The people that are going to affect are us. Okay. The people that it's going to affect are the people that we serve in our mission. The people it's going to affect the least are the people we're asking for money. The 1%ers, it's not going to affect near the same. Yeah. Okay. Maybe instead of spending, a month in Europe abroad, they're only going to do 2 weeks. Okay. That's what it's going to do.
Yeah. Or they're going to start asking.
But probably not. They'll probably double that and just say, things are slow. I'm going to go take more time. So I'm just saying, keep those things in mind. The reality is that's who it affects the most. It's not going to be, now they may use that as excuse. Hey, things have slowed down. I can't do, be your $25,000 sponsor, but what I can do is do 10. What can we do there?
If this is massively important to your mission, and you find that, be self-aware. If you find that you get caught up in the economic talks and the impending recession and stuff like that, hey, listen, unplug then. Don't watch the news. what's going to happen? It's worked out great for me. You know what I mean? I have an idea what's going on. I talked to Jason about it a little bit and stuff like that. I'm telling you what, you can get a lot more done, and you can have a greater impact on your singular focus at home, at your profession, raising money.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, unplug. Give your mind a break. It'll give you the courage to ask for more. It'll also dissuade you from thinking about what's going on in the world, and dissuade you from asking, and dissuade you from advancing the mission and hitting those goals that scare you and things like that. You know what I mean? So 30,000 foot view. Hey, it's not a crime to unplug. That's not a crime. Everyone thinks it is. Everyone thinks that you can unplug and you got to pay attention to what's going on every second of every day and ride that roller coaster. I'm telling you what, that will strip you your courage. You know what I mean? If you plug in too much, if you start going doomsday, because it's not good news. I can't recall it being good news. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion.
And I think it's I think we all as citizens should be aware of what's going on. But what do you control? What do you really control? You control what you do in your world and in your fundraising. That's what you got to focus on, and that's the deal. And that's exactly your point. I know you're making, brother. I wanted. There's a couple things. We had a couple of questions pop in here.
Quickly with Kelly. Kelly, it was the good auctioneers aren't cheap, and cheap auctioneers aren't good. So if you expect to have an impact with your fund to need, your live auction, if you can do a last champion game or a heads or tails game and net another 10,000, 25,000 with a game, you need someone effective. That's what we're saying.
Well, it's funny. What Deidre said, the centerpiece auctions are good. Depends on the auctioneer. So it kind of goes to that part.
Great point. Paula said how to expand connections with people with money. I mean, the people exercise leaning on your board and your committee, right, Jay? Yeah. I mean, the most powerful fundraising tool you have is your phone. The folks in your leveraging. The leveraging, the context. Leveraging well, I'm just regurgitating your rules. Jason's taught me more about fundraising than anyone ever has before, and that's just by osmosis.
And on that, if you'd like to connect and
I think that's a great idea.
We've got some. And
do the people exercise.
Click on the link. We'll try to get that put in the link with this email. When this
we have a Calendly offering that goes out with all the recordings where you can just do a.
But we've also got a webinar. We did a webinar completely on the people exercise, how to do it, what to do.
I think that's massive. I think that's massive.
With your committee, do it with your board.
Yep. Leverage those relationships and always pour yourself into those relationships, developing those relationships, being patient, playing the long game, realizing your relationships are your true superpower. And
that's the equity of any nonprofit is their donor
pouring yourself into it's not what you know, it's who you know and how well you know them. I think that's massive. How to be sensitive to finances if our database is not the 1%. Shelly,
I think you'd be surprised how many people in your database are in the 1%. I don't think people really understand. They hear that and they don't think it's them, and half the time it is. I
don't think we should use sensitivity as a roadblock. But I'm not talking about being insensitive. I'm not talking about being insensitive. But asking for money for your mission is not insensitive.
Do you mind if I just take off on something real quick?
I want
because this kind of ties. This kind of ties off on the people about how to expand our base with people that have money.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the really simple deal. The 30-second deal. You go through your phone, you go through everything, and you say, who do I know that might be interested in helping our cause? And you get everybody on your board, you get everybody on your committee, you get everybody that you know to do the same thing, and you write those names down. And then you go down the list. Can Kelly write a check for $10,000 and not miss it? No. Can Carrie do it? No. Lowell, yep, he can. Okay, Lynn, nope, can't do it. All right, we already know. Now we know that we believe that a $10,000 check and not miss it, significant ability. So we got 1 in 4. So we know how we're going to make those large asks. Doesn't mean that we can't put it out there to them, but the person I'm going to make a phone call to is Lowell to say, Lowell, hey, we're going to have our event. You've always, we know that you care about whatever the deal is. We've got a relationship. I'd really like for you to come and be a part of it and start doing that. That's where you've got to start that. And you'll be surprised how many people that you know. And how many people that your board knows, and how many people. Now, we want to be equal opportunity receivers. Just because that doesn't mean that Kelly, Carrie, and Lynn maybe they can fill a table with people who can come and spend some money. They have special access.
That's an auction item. Yeah, fantastic. We had another question.
I think that we underestimate the power that we carry around in our phone, because we always sit there and try to think of something, and we
Mhm.
try to go, man, if I could just think of somebody. Pull out your phone, start at A's, go through B's, C's, D's, all the way through, and you'll be surprised how many.
Yep. Carrie had a question. Appreciate it, Carrie. Any new live auction ideas that are popular right now? Well, without speaking with too much of an agenda, trips and experiences. And we're only saying that because, well,
It's true.
it's
It is
really
absolutely true. People
it's
don't
really
want stuff.
lovely. It's really lovely. Yeah, that we can't speak to that enough. People don't want the lawnmower or the chainsaw
Mhm.
or whatever, the blower, the leaf blower, the stuff they can get on Amazon. That's been really magnified in the last couple of years. Trips and experiences, we're saying that because of the sheer number. We're in a really, really unique position where we're in, can I say a number, Jay? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, 800 events, right?
Hmm.
800 different events, where we
And
see
coast to coast. I mean, they're all over the country. So.
50 states, what's being sold. We get that data, obviously. We're
Mhm.
not like other consignment companies. We're very proud of this in the sense that we also book every trip that we sell too. So we're seeing not just what's going on the front end, what's popular. They have 2 years to book it. However, we're seeing what is being booked and the sheer volume year over year of what's being booked for 2023, because we book out in a year in advance for a lot of our donors. We're taking care of the needs of the donors when it comes to booking those experiences. So yeah, Jason said access experiences that you can't find on your phone. At the same time, without sounding contradictory, hey, folks are leveraging their giving budget with their travel budget. And if it's affordable, you're giving them the opportunity to do so. So at the same time that we talk about the 1%, I like to think of it like a pyramid. That's great. Folks with capacity at the 1%, they'll spend $43,000 on a live
Mhm.
auction item. They'll give $25,000 for the platinum sponsorship. We have a whole base of people, of folks like myself, where I will leverage $3,000 because I'm already going to go on vacation and I care about the scholarship foundation in my town, because this is where I live and my wife and I travel, and I travel with Jay and his wife. So if there's a 4-person stay to Tuscany, heck yeah, I'm on it. I'm leveraging my giving budget for the mission with my travel budget. We're seeing a lot of that. So yeah, that's been pretty huge. But once again, big picture as well. Yeah, outside of the box. Yeah, like tours, awesome stuff where folks can learn how to make wine,
Mhm.
or we got a really cool VIP Opry experience where the people don't go to get backstage, they go on stage. Stuff like that you can't really find. We've came out with some great ideas that are still playing out perfectly right now, where folks got, it's like a taste of Tuscany. So they bought a Tuscany trip, but they get a case of wine from our concierge desk in Italy shipped to them, so they can taste Tuscany before they even go. And they'll taste wine, even if they're not, wine connoisseurs like me, for instance, because I'm not. I'll be tasting some wine that I've never tasted before, so that's kind of cool, in so many ways, right? So
Well,
yeah, those kinds of experiences are really cool.
yeah. Well, real quick, here's what people are buying. And this is just because if you go to hjfundraising.com and look at our list, you can kind of see we're not suggesting that you've got to use our stuff. We hope you do, but it's just a deal to give you an idea of what people are doing. They like international travel,
Europe's
domestic
crazy right
travel,
now. Yeah. Beach.
beach, and once in a lifetime.
Yep.
Once in a lifetime would be like the Nashville thing, a Kentucky bourbon tour. Maybe it's Napa. And one thing outside the box experience ideas. One thing that I would suggest to Carrie, it depends on what you have access to.
That's a great question.
We have a lot of access in our own backyards, and it's back to that who has special access. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I'm going through my list, and this guy can't, he doesn't, he can't write a check for $10,000, and maybe he doesn't do this, but he does. He is best friends with the groundskeeper, the main maintenance guy at the ballpark, and he can set up this incredible tour and do that. And maybe we put we start with that and we build this whole package around the ballpark, or something like that. All those things, really, it's what you have. We've had somebody who started working, and they created this trip. We found a guy that had a jet, and then somebody else had this connection to a place in Napa, and they got this to go together and put this really incredible trip. The thing sold for 60 grand. Guess who the guy that bought it was? The guy that donated the jet. So who'd have thunk it? But, and I'm not suggesting that's what's going to be all, but that's the kind of stuff. You really got to look at what you have access to. Something that we've done, one of the events I did, it's the for the police athletic league. So the police department here in Oklahoma City is very much behind, involved in it. And I said, hey, can we get what about doing the tactical course and having a day for a group? We'll do it for like 6 people, and they get to go out and shoot guns and see a bomb explosion and bust down some doors and do some cool stuff. Yeah, they did it.
Yeah.
Brings $6,000.
Yeah.
Sold it twice, just like that.
Dinner with someone,
your sheriff's department, the police department, the fire department. Look at what you've got around in your community that is going to be something that somebody would never get to do. It sounds weird, but there's a lot of people that would really like to go ride in the back of a fire truck.
But you can't find that on Amazon. That's the point,
right? You can't
right?
find it.
You can't go buy that on Amazon.
You can't go down and just go and say, hey, I want to get back to the fire truck. But if you know the fire chief,
there you go,
or the police chief, you can come up with those kind of things and get them to be engaged and to do it. Go fly around the news station, go reach out to your news station, say, could we maybe be a newscaster for a deal, and take a flight to the newscaster.
A lot of these professional organizations have a community fund as well, where they're happy to donate tickets or boxes or Bat Boy for a day, or we've seen or Bat Girl for a day. We've seen all of these things happen in real time. So so once again, nudging you to be creative and ask more out of your committee and their reach and their network and your board, and just folks in your community that will care. I think that's huge. So that's pretty good. We're gonna run low. We're gonna run on time.
Well, I know we never go past, so we got to let.
Thank you, Carrie. Thanks for the questions. Yeah, thanks for the questions. All right, so we have a winner, and I don't know who it is. Jason, do you know who it is?
I've got to get the deal pulled up.
Episode 93 was really fun.
Noah.
All right, Noah.
You're the winner. Right, congratulations.
All we needed to do is fly to Los Angeles. No, I'm joking.
Way to go. You got a trip that you can use for your next fundraiser, Noah, and to raise more money.
Fantastic.
So we really appreciate that. We appreciate all of you so much for being here. We'll be back here next week. Got a great topic, and we'll let you know that Monday.
Yeah. Episode 94 next Thursday. Hey, in the meantime, if you want to share this, like we said, with someone in your network, hey, also check out our podcast. Hey, Nonprofits Raise More Money. We've got a couple episodes coming out every single week. It's awesome. Download, rate, review, subscribe. Send it to someone in your network. Give it to a neighbor. Give it to your sister or brother, your parents. I don't know. Give it to somebody. Share it for us. That's how I feel. Yeah. Well, thanks.
We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, bro. And we'll see you next week.
All right, everybody. Have a great Thursday. Thank you. Take care.